It is just a huge honor for me today to be podcast interviewing Dr. Aalok Shukla. He is the CEO of Uplift, Straight Teeth Direct, Make Me Clear, Instant Dentist, and I Love Straight Teeth. He's coming in today all the way from the United Kingdom, so it's 12 noon here on my lunch hour, and it's 7 p.m. there. He is a healthcare entrepreneur with a clinical background in dentistry. He focuses his work on teledentistry and artificial intelligence to deliver a scalable, data-driven approach to oral health care. After running his private practice for 7 years, he sold it in 2016 to focus on the unmet demand for accessible, affordable orthodontic care. He co-founded Straight Teeth Direct, an innovative app and platform offering full, supervised mobile treatment with European dentists and users in 61 countries globally. He more recently launched a second platform focused on dental health, Instant Dentist, to democratize access to oral care and offer a new preventative and continuous practice model. Straight Teeth Direct is a direct-to-consumer teledentistry platform that connects users to online dentists globally, enabling at-home cosmetic teeth straightening at a cost savings of up to 70%. Forget everything you think about, about teeth straightening. This startup is revolutionizing the cosmetic orthodontic market by making invisible liners available without the need for monthly appointments or the traditional hefty costs attached to it. Using 3D printing, they have delivered a liner straight to the door of users in over 43 countries since their 2017 launch. By building the very first AI orthodontist and instant smile simulator, their vision is to provide a solution to millions of adults worldwide looking to improve their smiles and self-confidence with an option that fits into their lifestyle. His mission is to make orthodontic care more accessible and affordable through technology. Part of so what you're doing is, I'm so excited to get you on the show today. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you, Howard. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh my gosh, I invited you. You didn't invite me. I'm so excited because what I've noticed, I started lecturing. I got out of school in 87, started lecturing in 90. And one of the first things I realized is when you're flying around the world that the herd of 8 billion humans is very, very homogeneous. It's kind of like no matter where you measure the cosmic temperature, it's like 4 degrees Kelvin. Wherever you measure light, it's the speed of light, right? 186,000 miles a second. The herd is extremely stable. So when the pendulum was swinging to the left and getting very liberal, it was a world deal. When it went to the right, when it had anxiety, markets expanding or markets contracting, it's a very stable herd. And 4.5% of those sapien cows are over here, and they just did the Smiles Direct Club, which had to be the most controversial story in dentistry. And I want to get your take on it because this is Dentistry Uncensored, and I don't want to talk about anything anybody agrees on, but let's just start with this. When I got out of dental school, a big screen TV was $5,000. Now it's 500. The biggest movie on the blockbuster this year is Ford and Ferrari. And when Ford started Henry Ford, there were 86 car companies, but they just made a few cars a year for really rich kings and queens. And Henry said, no, we're going to make a car for the modern man. So here Smiles Direct Club said, well, $6,500. Hell, it's a lot of money for dentists just getting out of dental school. I mean, it's a lot of money. So we're going to use technology and eliminate, everything we can. We're going to replace the orthodontist with AI, blah, blah, blah. And we're going to come out with a low-cost product for $2,500. Oh, my God. The orthodontist put them against the firing squad immediately. But it's kind of interesting because if it would be any other industry, in electronics, cell phones, computers, big screens, it would have been cheered. So why the difference? Why is using technology and AI to lower the cost of orthodontics, why is that such a bad thing, but not in electronics?
No, I totally agree, Howard. Like, I think in all other industries, when you use technology, it lowers the costs. Like, for example, that's the whole point of technology, to democratize access, to make things more accessible and affordable. And I think that there's been a perception because probably there's been a stable percentage of people that visit a dentist. And of that stable percentage of people visiting a dentist, a kind of stable percentage within uptake cosmetic procedures. So historically, there's been essentially a limited patient pool for many practices. And I think many practices felt threatened. They thought that those patients would then no longer come to them for those different treatments. And they felt a little bit threatened by that. The true advantage of technology is the fact that more people can gain access. Because if we think about just metrics, probably about 70% of people have teeth that could be improved through straightening, maybe 50 to 40% of people would be interested in straightening their teeth. And then you start thinking about the masses of population, all the people that are not in a clinic. That's the huge expandable audience. So I think that dentists, if they start to understand that more and more people will access teeth straightening, there will always be a tier of those people that will require in-office treatment due to complexity, severity of malocclusion, other issues that they need as part of their ortho-restorative treatment. But the thing is, what this movement is doing is helping more people become aware of teeth straightening. It's a bit like contact lenses. Pretty much everyone knows someone that has contact lenses. So in the same way with aligners, it'll be the same way that pretty much everyone will know someone that that uses aligners. The simple question will be like, where did you get it from? And did you get the outcome you wanted? And then that's how trust is kind of established and goes from there.
Well, in order to get contacts, do you need to see an ophthalmologist, an optician? Do you have to, in the United States and England, do you know the, I mean, can I just decide I want contacts and tell them this is my prescription and have no paperwork?
I believe they need to have an eye examination first of all, and then they would then get their prescription, and then they could select the right provider for them. But then the same way, there's no real difference why someone can't be assessed and then get the different options for them from a teeth straightening perspective. You'll always need a doctor involved. The simple question is like, how can you leverage the doctor's time efficiently so that it becomes more accessible and more affordable to more people?
Interesting. So where are you at now? How long has this been out, and where are you at with all this? Where's your journey at right now?
So we went live in 2017, and we've got customers in 61 countries, and we're growing. And we've now launched the second part of the business, which is the health layer. So the thing is, Howard, as you're probably aware, in medicine, you have a medical model and a surgical model. So you have the whole preventive, early diagnostic level of care that you're doing things. And then if you need to intervene and do a procedure, you would have the surgical model. In dentistry, clinics have been very good at the surgical model and being able to do lots of different treatments for people, but they previously hadn't been very affordable or accessible health screening. So with the health platform, we're looking to make that more accessible to more people so that we can pick up early signs and symptoms of conditions, drive them to dentists so that they're able to get earlier treatment and it's more cost effective for them. And then for the people that are interested in improving their smile, there are many different options available to improve it. So we're just trying to democratize access to oral health, if that makes sense.
Okay, now go back and tell me what you just said, but put it in websites, because I have uplifthome.com, I have instant-dentist.com, make me clear, straight teeth. Yeah, so tell me what which one you're talking about. Tell me that same story again, because my homies want to know where to find you.
Sure. So Uplift Home, it has the two principal platforms. That's for the teeth straightening, straightteethdirect.com, and Instant Dentist, which is the digital dental health assessment remotely within there, basically. Those two are sister platforms.
Okay, so Uplift is the parent corporation.
Right, exactly.
And Uplift has two companies. It has Instant Dentist and it has Straight Teeth Direct. Okay, so then what's MakeMeClear.com?
Make Me Clear is actually from a partner of mine, Andre. He's created a software which makes it very easy for doctors within their clinic to be able to create complex treatment plans to help explain to the patient what conditions they require and what treatments they require. So it makes it really easy for a dentist to do multidisciplinary treatment planning and create like a very detailed report. So it helps them position as an expert and at the same time give a patient a treatment plan they can understand. I'm not really involved in that business anymore. Andre runs that one.
Okay. Well, I wish he would come on the show. And and the other thing in the United States, this is very obvious, is there's 10 specialties, right? And when you go to dental school, the endodontists help you learn endo, the oral surgeons help you pull teeth, the periodontists help you fight gum disease, and the orthodontists say, you don't need to learn anything over here. You just go about your way. And any orthodontist who teaches general dentists, like Richard Led, who was the chairman of the ortho department at University of California, San Francisco, and then chairman of the department, University of Detroit, Michigan, he's blackballed from his entire community. He'll never get to speak, publish, anything. So the only people that will ever talk about to general dentists about how to do ortho is the blackballed Rick Litt, or we have to get foreigners, like we get Brock Rondeau from Canada. So I'm knocking on England's door saying, by the way, this is Dentistry Uncensored, and you can tell me to shut up at any time. But I am curious because you just passed Brexit, and I'm wondering what the European Society of Aesthetic Orthodontics is. European Society of Aesthetic Orthodontics, is that an orthodontist-only association, or is that more of a general dentist doing ortho association?
I think that's more of a general dentist association, basically. So like helping them look at different options for cosmetic teeth straightening.
So back to the Smiles Direct Club, they're mounting a ton of legal challenges for them because in America, money's the answer. What's the question? And what you see is like when you talk about unionized workers, well, half of America is too poor to be a worker in a union. Those are only rich union workers like airplane pilots or auto industry. And I've always thought the doctors were the richest union in America. And now that you're no longer part of the EU, now that you've done Brexit, will you have less regulatory challenges to roll out clear aligners in London?
I think like all countries will always have they'll always regulate dentists that they have to practice professionally, and they have to make sure that they're complying with everything they need to do. And then any laboratories that they work with will need to make sure they comply with what needs to happen. But I think that, different countries will maybe adopt their different ways of running things. But essentially, there'll be variations, but the UK will just create its own version after the EU laws were in place.
Because the of all the countries on earth, the United Kingdom fought tooth whitening harder than anybody I was aware of. I mean, Dan Fisher of Ultradent spent over $1 million in legal fees and lost trying to get his Ultradent opalescence cleared back when it came out in the late 80s, early 90s. Do you consider the legal environment for the UK dentistry liberal, conservative, easy, hard, difficult? How would you describe it?
Probably quite conservative. Also, like in the UK, it's quite similar to USA that you've got more and more medical legal claims, and then there's like a defensive style of practice, like this kind of culture, I think, basically.
Yeah. So, so when did you launch? When did you say that you launched StraightTeeth.com, StraightTeethDirect.com?
So we launched in 2016 to get in evaluation and see, like what demand there would be, and then in 2017 we began commercially, basically.
And how's your success so far?
No, it's going good. So we've been growing like quite a lot each year on year. And as I say, what we've been focusing on is making sure we get the right outcomes for people, because the way we focus it is we've digitized the clinic experience with regards to like having the e-consultation, monthly reviews, making sure that the aligners are delivered in stages so that if there's any refinements required, that can happen as well. So the way we see things, it's just a question of like how to leverage doctors and orthodontists and help them have the right technology support structure so they can help more people get what they want, basically.
And are you is this meeting your expectation? Are you thrilled, or are you
no,
has it been harder and slower than you thought?
No, I think it's growing. It's very good, and it's also very exciting when you see like how many countries and how many people are interested in these solutions. So, for example, in Japan, I think clear aligners can sometimes cost $7,000, $8,000. It's a lot of money. So in many different countries, you have people that are looking for solutions, but then they couldn't afford it previously. So it's quite nice to be able to get nice stories from all around the world.
Nice. So when you look at what you're doing is a digital play. I mean, it's digitization.
Right.
You talk about digitization of dental care beyond the clinic. What does that mean to you?
So within the clinic, you'll always have people coming for assessment, diagnosis, and then treatment, essentially, okay? But the number of people that actually go to a clinic, they have to actually generally feel they have a problem, and it's got to the stage where they actually feel they need to see a dentist about it. So that problem might have been brewing over some months or some time previously. So where we see the opportunity is how can you help more people access digital care? So digital diagnosis through a mobile phone. So if people are able to upload and get regular digital assessments remotely, and their data can be tracked over time to see like what's the rate of tooth wear, what's the rate of enamel thinning, how are the gums, all these different elements, people can then understand their own unique risk factors. See, the way we look at things in dentistry is generally when you go to a dentist, what you would get is a treatment plan. You go to 5 dentists, you get 5 treatment plans, which is a list of conditions to be, list of treatments to be done. But what you don't get is a kind of assessment or benchmarking of your oral health status. So with Instant Dentist, what we've done is we've created a benchmark of that, where you get a digital report which assesses your health across 22 different dimensions and specific risk factors. And we feel if more people can get digital assessments at home and impartially from a data-driven perspective get an understanding of what their health is and what needs they have, they'll be better empowered to visit their dentist for the actual conditions that they feel is valuable for them to treat. So we see the opportunity in more people getting digital dental care through digital dental plans, assessments, and subscriptions. And that will then also help them when they want to go to the clinic to go in a more efficient way, basically.
And why is teledentistry? Is it just because it's new? I mean, like if you Google teledentistry on Dental Town, the first thread that comes up was I tried to do teledentistry and I spoke to MedPro, my malpractice carrier, and they said they won't cover you for teledentistry. I mean, it just seems like one thing after another. Why do you think it's so controversial?
I think it's when something is new, some people perceive it that way. But if you think about other sectors and you look at like the kind of history of where things are, people don't really call things e-commerce these days. It's commerce, right? Walmart has its online play and its normal play. So you look at retail, obviously the majority of transactions still happen offline, but an increasing percentage is happening online. In the same way, if you look in primary medical care, you've got in the States Teladoc, and you've got all these other different situations where you've got more and more people accessing, say, digital doctors for their primary health care. They also still have to see their physical doctors for physical exams or different investigations and things like this. All it is just an expansion of professional expertise. So in the future, we see that like more and more doctors will always practice digitally. I mean, to be honest, you might be using a phone call to talk with a specialist and explaining some things, or you might be sending photos through WhatsApp. Everybody's using it to a degree, but what's not been done before is an organized, systemized way to communicate directly with the end patient and at the same time to create pathways which are more efficient. So all it is an extension of regular care. And over the next 4 or 5 years, we'll see that blur more and more as people have a combination of online practice combined with their physical practice, essentially.
I love that. E-commerce is now just commerce. So teledentistry will eventually just be dentistry. Do you have another example besides e-commerce is now just commerce? Before you go right to the close, teledentistry will eventually be dentistry.
If you look at Dental Town itself, what is it? People posting cases, photos of cases, and then different dentists commenting and describing what they would do. It's no different, really. That's just like that's like dentist to dentist teledentistry, essentially. They're using images and they're consulting over technology to understand better ways to solve a case. It's exactly the same difference. The only difference is these days mobile devices have become much lower cost and have very good camera resolution that information can be captured remotely. Because pretty much all of dentistry is diagnosed visually or volumetrically. So you're looking at either color changes, spectral changes, or you're looking at volumetric changes. It's all visual pretty much. So that means a lot of screening can be done through ways you can get a proxy for actually seeing, i.e. photos or video.
Okay, so now my homies want to know, okay, let's just go through your sites. What will my homies know if they go to uplift.com? Will they feel uplifted?
They should do, like if they want to be part of like the new revolution, really, if they're interested in how to expand access within their practice. Because what I would say, Howard, is that teledentistry presents massive opportunities for the practices which utilize technology. Because what do people want to do? They want to go to the dentist, get their teeth fixed, and then leave, basically. They want to have one visit dentistry as much as possible. They want to have things as efficiently as possible. So if a dentist is able to have a full assessment beforehand, know exactly why the person's coming, set up their CEREC machine or whatever it is to do the quadrant of restorations, it becomes much more productive time for the dentist and also for the patient because they knew what they were coming for and it was just much more easy, basically.
You know, when you look at the biggest money ever made, it's always in insurance, banking, and financing. Because if I grow a crop, I have to sell to you for money. But if you're the guy holding everybody's money, it's really, if you just make 1% on everybody's money, it's so much money. So insurance, banking, and financing are always the most lucrative and make the most money. The average person in Manhattan in insurance, banking, and financing, I mean, it's not unreasonable to see them make $50 million a year. Next would be media, because in media, when the Super Bowl was yesterday, it doesn't matter which beer company you are, the winner will pay the top rate for the ad. I'm surprised that you're going first into teledentistry instead of tele-dental insurance. Have you thought about that, since that's obviously in the profit zone? I love that book, the Profit Zone. It really blew me away back in the 90s, where it took each one of the vertical industries and it just measured them by profit dollars. So take autos. Everybody would think, well, who makes all the money in autos? They'd say like GM, Chrysler, Ford, Honda, all the big car companies. And when you look at profit dollars, they're on the bottom. People that sell auto insurance make more profit dollars than the people making the cars. The people who actually finance the cars make the most money. So I was just wondering what your thoughts are, if you looked at the profit dollars, why you would be interested in the profit dollars of actually clear aligners instead of just the financing, the insurance, all that stuff. Have you thought about that? Is that plan B, or where are you at with that?
So where we see things is like how to, first of all, democratize access. So if everyone has access to digital dental care, then people are able to optimize their health and also improve their smile in an efficient way. So that's like level one. From all the data that we're capturing, there's a lot that we're working on to understand risk profiles, and we've been creating different risk profiles so we can start to analyze, are you able to actually reduce the needs of some people, and also help categorize who would be kind of a more wellness plan, for example, and help someone who's going to require more restorative work over time and would be a different risk classification. So I completely see in the future data-driven dental insurance based on like your risk classification and the actual plan that you would get, that will come. But that will come after more data is kind of captured through the process.
I love your article, From 300 Million Braces to 3 Billion Smiles, Introducing the Exponential Orthodontist. What were your thoughts when you wrote that?
So it's simply like the factor of like looking at the macro. Like if you're looking at like how many people there are on the planet, you look at like the rise of income, you look at like how more people want to have like uniform beauty expectations through Instagram, YouTube, Facebook. More and more people are talking via Skype. More people are talking via Facebook and WhatsApp. Everybody just wants to have a nice smile. So the simple question is, if you're able to bring the costs down, and if you're able to kind of deliver things in a systematic way, as the cost of 3D printing resin comes down, the cost of the plastic for the resin, the cost of doctors potentially because of how much time they require, it just becomes more accessible, really. So it's like any other health discipline that previously was unreachable, but now it becomes more accessible, really.
So that article, Artificial Intelligence in Digital Health, a Consumer Application, Diagnosis, the Identification of the Nature of an Illness, rather wrong. So where is artificial intelligence? I'm very excited about this because, as being an Irishman, I know the downfalls of natural intelligence. So I've been very, very pro artificial intelligence. How is artificial intelligence, how does that look like to you now? And when did you write that article? Artificial Intelligence and Digital Health.
Yeah, I think that one was. So the way we see it is that when a dentist is going to dental school, what they're doing is they're being trained on their ways to spot patterns, spot clinical signs, spot clinical symptoms. So they're starting to understand, what does caries look like? What does the process look like? What does inflammation? What does gum disease look like? What is an unnatural rate of tooth wear? You're basically understanding how to classify all these things in your head. Now, as we talked about, most dental problems are detected visually or volumetrically. So if you're able to train different computer algorithms to understand the pictures, understand the 3D models, and be able to classify what condition does this sit within, and then at the same time also apply some kind of judgment to understand the kind of degree of severity, you can then really help streamline the doctor's time, because the doctor could then straight away understand, okay, this is a 29-year-old with much more tooth wear than should be normal, like the height of the tooth is like a quarter of what it should be. So we see the opportunity for artificial intelligence is to catalog and codify and understand all of the photos, videos, and everything being recorded. So it's more of a data-driven approach to diagnosis, because at the moment, there's a lot of variability in what something should be intervened, when you would drill something, when you would not, when you would try a reparative, preventive model. There's a lot of variance in that. So we see the opportunity with people all around the world being diagnosed and being monitored. It would then mean that we could start to get a better understanding about what is actually achievable and what is better possible, basically, for people.
So what are you most excited about today? What are you most passionate about?
I think what I'm very passionate about is like the combination of how you can use technology to help people better understand their oral health and at the same time unlock like sort of comfort and trust from them from remotely using technology, and connecting them also with different either digital dentists or physical dentists that can help them. It's really helping harmonize the whole process. And the other thing that becomes interesting is dentistry traditionally was taken out of medicine, but the mouth, as you well know, is the start of many different symptoms of disease or many different issues. So if you've got more and more people having digital dental screening, you can start to prevent and start to predict other issues that are happening. So it becomes like the first step of essentially wellness, really. So I think it's a very exciting time that we're living in, where there's more and more people that are looking for prevention, more and more people looking for affordable options. And yeah, it's great to be at a time when all the trends are going in the right direction.
So Uplift is the B2B dentist to dentist website, and then the business to consumer, dentist to patient is Straight Teeth Direct and Instant Dentist?
Yeah, so
are you trying to build the brand Make Me Clear and I Love Straight Teeth, or not really?
No, so Straight Teeth was my old clinic, basically. So
okay, so I don't want to confuse the message. So you're CEO of Straight Teeth and
Instant Dentist.
Instant Dentist. And what about I Love Straight Teeth?
That was the clinic that we used to have. So we set that up in 2009 to 2016, and we were doing online assessments back in 2011. So that's when we started sending.
And help me out, because it's tough. By the way, a lot of people always have sent me things where they'll say, hey, I don't like it when you put out a podcast, you'll put like Dr. Aalok, and then you'll put initials after the name. If there's initials after the name, you don't put a doctor in front of it. And I'm like, shut up. Yeah, if I showed you a dentist name in Saudi Arabia, you would know if it was a boy or a girl. You would know it was a dentist. When you put a DR in front of it, they do the name. And I like what they do in Brazil, where they have doctor and draw. So if it's DR, it's a male. If it's DRA, it's a female. All the business people in the Middle East, before their name, they put an MR and MS, because they know when you see the name. I mean, obviously, if your name's Matthew, Mark, Luke, or John, we can figure out your biology. But I'm just trying to help the international people. I don't care if it offends a bunch of people in the United States. But so your brand is, but dentists are from England are sending me back stuff, and they're saying that you would give them their address and say London, England, United Kingdom, and they're correcting it and saying change it to Great Britain. I'm not sure. I'm not aware of what I'm. So after Brexit, you're United Kingdom, but why is so many dentists in London changing United Kingdom to Great Britain?
I don't know. I think there's.
You don't know? Come on, dude. That's your country. I'm in the desert on the other side of the world. But so you don't know what.
So in the UK, you got England, you got Scotland, you got Wales, then you got United Kingdom, which is all three of those together, and then Great Britain is then like a combination essentially. So there's different ways.
What's the difference between United Kingdom and Great Britain?
It's a good question. So I think that's like with Wales, basically.
So on your technical address, I can just say you're from London, UK, or do you like London, United Kingdom?
From London, UK, and I'm based in London and Lisbon in Portugal, basically.
But UK, but right now, I mean, you're a dentist. Would you go with UK or United Kingdom?
UK is just an abbreviation, so yeah, United Kingdom, UK.
And would you go with Great Britain or United Kingdom?
No, UK.
Okay. All right. So sorry to get my I'm trying to get my geopolitical and then what are the initials behind your name? BDS?
Yes, Bachelor of Dental Surgery.
Uh-huh. And okay. So is there a competition between you're a general dentist, right? You're not an orthodontist?
That's correct.
Do your orthodontist friends like what you're doing, or did you stop getting invited to dinner parties?
So we have digital orthodontists that work on our platform. So I think you'll always have people that are for progress. So we have some of our friends like have very good orthodontic clinics, and they're very interested in how things are progressing and interested to see how things go. Like they've obviously got very thriving practices which work very well. And to be very, very clear, Howard, like there's a small percentage of cases that are treatable remotely. There's loads of cases that need to be treated in clinic. And at the same time, if people are looking for more comprehensive outcomes, or people prefer to not wear clear aligners, they want to have a brace fixed behind the teeth, there's always going to be cases that are required. But what's very interesting is that like as technology becomes more popular, more people then get their teeth straightened, which then leads to more people wanting their teeth straightened, and then there's more cases going around for everyone, basically.
Yeah, and that's what I think is obvious. I mean, a young person doesn't want to have a partnership because they want the whole pie. And a lot of times they don't understand that 1 + 1 = 3. And then if you and I became partners, the pie would not be double and we each get the half pie, which is the same as the original pie, but the pie might be 3 times bigger. And now my half is 1.5 times bigger than my whole. And free enterprise, dentists, healthcare doesn't get it of everyone. Everyone else knows. Like if you say to a dentist, what is your favorite procedure? And he said, clear aligners. And I'd say, okay, so the earth just went around the sun. What are you going to do about your price? Oh, I'm going to raise it 5%. Okay, well, that's exactly wrong. I mean, the only thing we've learned from Adam Smith in 1776, a Scot, to this day, was that if you want to grow your business, you lower your price and you'll expand your market share. And the winner in airlines is the low-cost Southwest. The winner in distribution of furniture is IKEA. Groceries, it's Kroger, it's Walmart. And then these guys get so mad, like in Arizona, the biggest dental insurance company just lowered their fees. And they're all just going crazy. And it's like, okay, now in economics, you should be lowering your fees anyway, right? So you're bitching about the insurance company, and you're supposed to use your brain to figure out how to do everything. Keep one eye on the patient, one eye on cost, and make everything faster, easier, higher quality, lower cost, smaller. But dentists, they don't want to hear that. They want to hear that I sold my car last year for $1, and next year I want to get $1.10. I mean, it's exactly backwards. So when you say progress, do you mean better, faster, easier, higher quality, lower cost, more miniature?
I think like as practices, so with technology, with teledentistry, the number of people that can visit a practice will increase, okay? But then the practice has to change a little bit in how it delivers services. Because, for example, as costs do increase within a practice, so I think as there's more regulation, as rent goes up, there are higher fixed costs, and it can cause pressure on a clinic. But then at the same time, if you start adopting things like remote monitoring, different elements, so you have to spend less chair time with the patients that you're treating, you should then be able to offer a more affordable price to more people. So I think it depends on like how people want to adapt. But then at the same time, also, you do have different market segments. So you always have like the mass market segment, but then you also have more middle class, upper middle class, and even like more elite and premium. So I guess it's simply a question of where the practice wants to position itself and what they're really focused on. I've always thought it's always more interesting to help more people access what they want. And at the same time, the market is absolutely enormous. So if you help more people, then more people can become uplifted and empowered, and they can refer more people, and you can just go from there, really.
And this uplifted, feel more power, your passion, your smile, where does this come from?
Well, I just think like historically, like everyone is happy about smiling. Everyone thinks it's beautiful to have a smile, but then dentistry, everyone gets scared about, right? Like, so the thing is, why can't you utilize technology to actually make the person feel in control, empowered, have information, have visibility over what they require, also have access to information on what minimally invasive procedures would be. Like, for example, if someone wants to improve their smile, there's many non-invasive treatments that could be done by aligning the teeth, doing some bonding, doing some intrusion, but they may not even know these options are available. And some may go to a dentist who only does crowns, for example. So I think by giving people options and access to information, and at the same time also using technology to make treatments more affordable and accessible, it can just help everyone get a better experience of dentistry. Because then ultimately, if you are able to improve your smile in a non-painful way, and it doesn't have catastrophic repair issues, then it's just going to be a more positive encounter than having a large rehabilitation and it all goes really, really bad, basically, isn't it?
Yeah, but I want to, but I'm asking for you? Where does this come from in you? I mean, this isn't some you just didn't fall down on this thought. I mean, when you talk about uplifting and power and all that, where does that come from in you? Is this a childhood thing? You get this from your mom, your dad? Where
So I
does this
think
come from?
So, like, I think for my parents, like, we always want to be very positive, and we want to, like, help people. Really, isn't it? That's just the natural human condition. Everyone wants people to be happy. Everyone is happier when everyone else is happy around them, isn't it? Right. So, if you can then focus on how you can do more of that, and you can also then see if someone's able to suddenly improve their smile and feel more confident about their smile and they didn't before, that unlocks more happiness in them. So then it's just a question of, like, how can you use technology to help more people in a more affordable, accessible way, essentially. But I think, like, both me and Lucy, we're really focused on, like, how you can have as much impact as possible by, democratizing and unlocking different stories. There's so many people that send us wonderful stories or wedding photos of, like, like, of their special big day, and they always wanted to have the smile they wanted, and I think that's what any dentist likes, I think.
So, how long have you? What year did you get out of school?
2004.
2004. I had down 2003, but it was 2004, and
Yes. 2003 I finished at the end of December, basically.
And I love what I love the most about Britain more than anything is the names of their dental schools. We like in America we say, "Oh, I went to ASU or U of A." You graduated from the Queen Mary University of London, Bots, and the London School of Medicine and Dentistry. I just love that. So what you got out in 2003, it's 2020. A lot of these kids are coming out of school and saying, "Oh, Aalok, you got out in the easy days and the good days, the glory days. I just got out an hour ago." What do you think? How does the future of dental practices look like to you?
So I think the future of dental practices is essentially evolving along this trend. So it's there's always going to be a need for the dentist to be able to restore, replace, or repair. And so the question is simply going to be, like, how can you get as many different people that require those services, and at the same time, how can you help those people in a very efficient way? So I think the practices which are using technology, so they have a tele-dentistry element, for example, so beyond a website, more interaction, for example, and at the same time, they're using technology in their practice to minimize chair time, so then they can have a lower cost per procedure for more people. These are the ones the way they're going to be doing very, very well, because there's always going to be a need for intervention to change the physical shape of a tooth, to repair something, to replace something, even to move the position of it as part of an interdisciplinary treatment plan. You can't do clear aligners unless it's driven by a dentist in practice if you're doing a multidisciplinary treatment plan, and more treatment plan is going to become multidisciplinary. There's a bright future for dental care. When I was at university, I was actually doing medicine. I didn't want to be a doctor. I switched into dental school partway through university. So I'd always looked at things a little bit differently, because I'd always thought, like, you've got the medical model and surgical model. But I think for dentists graduating today, it's a very bright future, because you can really focus on taking care of people. But then if you're just clever about how you leverage your time and what technologies you use, then you can thrive.
It seems obvious when you look at the economics of dentistry from around the world that there's it started with Pierre Fauchard, the French. I'm sure your French wife reminds you every day that dentistry started in France and not the United Kingdom. 200 years of GV Black. It's pretty much 1.5, 2.5, 3% growth. The only double-digit places we see is implantology and clear aligners. You're biased towards clear aligners, but how do you, if she was listening to you right now and she was 25 and she just got out of dental school, what would be your sales pitch on clear aligners versus implantology?
Well, I think both of them, right? Why does it have to be one or the other, essentially? Because you're going to have people that will require at least one tooth to two teeth being replaced due to fracture, trauma, or something. And if every dentist is able to know how to restore a missing tooth with an implant, either through a short implant or some bone augmentation, they can better look after their patients, basically, isn't it? So I think to be a complete dentist, you have to be able to understand the different elements or build a team. And I think it's important to work as a team, right? No one person can do everything yourself. And I think if you build a team, then you can then make sure you can, provide the best care for your patients.
When you talk about increasing access to care, that access to care and availability of care, this seems to be a medical dental doctor access. The rest of the world just figured it out by keeping your eye on price. I mean, if you want everybody to have clean water, lower the price. If you want everybody to have, whatever you want them to have, just figure out how to make it faster, easier, higher quality, lower cost, cheaper. So when you're talking about increasing access to care, how does your amazing mind think about that, other than the obvious of just getting your price down?
So there's a few factors for the barriers to dental care. It's not just price. It's also like emotional factors, like fear, of being judged, maybe feeling embarrassed that you've not been for a while, maybe not having a relationship. So there's many different elements where somebody who doesn't have a regular dentist could then feel disempowered from seeking a dentist. So for example, in the UK, there is a socialized dental care system, the NHS, but you've still got around 7,500 people a week going to their GP, their doctor, for dental problems, not the dentist. And the reasons are, people are scared, they don't know who to go to. There may be some cost considerations because they're scared that suddenly they go for one appointment and suddenly they could have a huge bill beyond what they could pay for. There's a lot of lack of information. So I think the opportunity is by giving people more information in a safe environment or a way that they can control, they can then be better empowered to then decide where is the best place for them. And you are right, cost is a massive function of it. And in many countries where the costs of running medical or dental establishments are very high, unfortunately, there is an intrinsic cost element to it. But that's where technology can help, because by offering more affordable screening, more people can access professional advice.
And does Instant Dentist? I know on Twitter you have basically at Straight Teeth UK. Do you have? I don't see on your.
Not on Twitter. We use Instagram and Facebook.
So, are you aware that the President of the United States won solely because of Twitter? I mean,
I've heard of him. I'm aware of that.
I mean, I mean, you have to admit, love him or hate him, it's genius marketing, because he knew at nighttime with 325 million Americans, only 1 million watch CNN and 3 million watch Fox News, and combined that's 4 million. And he knew that his 25 million Twitter followers would blow that out of the water. No one comprehended it. No one saw it coming. But I do notice in dentistry, if you are big money, big power, manufacturing, if you're a mover and shaker, they're all on LinkedIn and Twitter. And if they're really up there, you say, are you on Facebook? They just laugh. I mean, really, and even the kids. So if they're millennial and under, they're not on Facebook, they're on Instagram.
Yep.
And then that middle group, it's kind of like if you say you're on Facebook, it's almost like saying you have erectile dysfunction. I mean, it's something's wrong with you if you're on that. But I find that interesting. So you're not on. So I was right. So on Twitter, you still have, is the Make Me Clear app? Is that still a Twitter following, or is that?
At least I think that Andre mainly produces the content for Brain in Hands, which is like education for dentists, and also through Make Me Clear through Facebook and also some Instagram as well.
Okay, so your Instant Dentist doesn't have a deal.
No, not on Twitter.
Okay, so, well, I'm gonna tell Donald Trump on you. I'm gonna tell him there's this London guy who's not on Twitter. Yeah, crazy politics for you and us, huh? Did you ever think that politics would be this strange when you got out of dental school?
I think everything changes. I think you can't predict how things may be. Some things will change faster than you imagine. Other things will change slower. I didn't ever imagine that UK would leave the EU, but obviously that happened. So yeah, I think.
Are you glad they left?
No, I don't think it's a good idea. I think ultimately where we're trying to get to is eliminate barriers, make things easier, more freedom of people, more freedom of movement, and also how to harmonize opportunity globally, really. So yeah.
Okay, so again, Uplift is the platform parent company of Instant Dentist
and Straight Teeth.
And Straight Teeth. Okay, well, I'm really interested in your other website. Do you still have that isu.com click convert sell docs?
So what that was in 2014 and 2013, we'd implemented an online assessment system for our clinic where people could answer different questions, tell us like if they wanted to get straight teeth by a specific date, whether they preferred something behind the teeth or removable, all these different elements. And then they were also sending us photos, and we would then send them like personalized videos, information. So we found that many patients came to our practice and even traveled quite some distance to see us through these online consultations and online booking we had then. And then we found many people inquiring all over the UK. And so we wanted to then help direct them to other practices. So that's where we created some different courses and training materials for the dentists to help them actually attract similar people that wanted straighter teeth.
So is it still a thing?
No, we stopped doing that to focus on the teledentistry elements, basically.
So you said so I'll get rid of issue.com and Make Me Clear.
Make Me Clear is still running, but Andre runs that, and it's doing very well.
Okay, and who's this Andre guy?
So George Andre Cardoso, he's quite renowned, and he lectures a lot internationally. He teaches interdisciplinary restorative dentistry, and he's created some very good training through Brain and Hands. It's a website I can give the link for afterwards. And it's all about how to have a systematic approach to treatment planning. And with Make Me Clear, it helps the dentist create a compelling report for the patient in the clinic, which creates a oral health score, and at the same time what the current dentition is, what the proposed treatment is, the risks and considerations. It's a very professional approach. With very little time, a dentist is able to create a very professional report for the patient to actually utilize.
And has that been going well?
Yeah, it's going well. So there's more and more dentists using that to help the associates in their practice do interdisciplinary treatment planning, and also helping more of the dentists that want to do more of the implant restorative combination cases do that well. Because most software, if you're trying to create a treatment plan which is like got implants, restorative elements, different things like this in orthodontics, it doesn't present visually. It just looks like a list of all different procedures, and you can't create like option A treatment plan, option B treatment plan very visually. Make Me Clear enables you to do that in a very nice way systematically.
And is he a general dentist or an orthodontist?
A prosthodontist. So he did further training in prosthodontics.
Prosthodontist. That is very interesting. That was the prosthodontist. Very interesting. And he's in Porto. Is he in Lisbon, or is Porto?
So he's in just near Porto. So he's in Espinho, just in the north of Portugal. It's a beautiful place.
Wow. And that's home of Palo. Do you pronounce that Palo Malo or Palo Malo?
Yeah, Paulo Malo. He's got very, very large implant clinics, isn't it? And create the all-on-4 procedure as well.
But he just filed for bankruptcy.
Yeah, I think there were some issues there.
But that's a good lesson, and I wish he'd come back on the show and talk about it, because it seems like life is 2 steps forward, 1 step back, just because the new arrivers don't learn everything the easy way by reading history books. They have to go back and touch the hot stove again. And he was doing great, and then he decided to carry his own paper and finance his cases. And you still have that popping up again in America. I thought it was laid to rest in the 80s, and now it's back. And then dentists started Paulo Malo.
Paulo Malo.
So it's both Paulo Malo. Paulo
Malo, yeah.
Say it again.
Paulo Malo.
Paulo Malo.
Yeah.
Paulo Malo. Those arches are expensive. It's $25,000 arch. That's $50,000 a full case. And he thought, you know what? I'll just carry the paper. Well, are you a banker? Do you do FICO scores? Do you have did you study insurance, banking, and finance? Is this your core competency? Oh, hell no. Everything looks easy to a doctor, because whenever you're a doctor, you just assume you're smarter than anybody. I mean, I'm surprised you don't see dentists walking up to like welders and saying, give me that welding machine. I'll show you how to weld. I mean, they just think they know everything. And he got bit bad on bad paper, and people are crazy. And you got to remember is that you can't repossess an all-on-4. You can't go in there and take their teeth. And I don't care. They'll give you their house. What they won't give you is their smartphone and their car. That's the only thing people care about. It's like, man, if I owe you $20 million billion, I'll just get in my car, take my iPhone, and leave. I mean, that's humans for you. So you don't carry paper, man. You have to, it's not your core competency. And I hope you kids listening to that. I mean, I never thought someone as smart as Palo Malo would do that. But you do like this. This make me clear. But please tell your friend George Andre Cardosa in the Porto area, Portugal, that my gosh, we'd love to hear more because, like I say, the orthodontists aren't going to teach us anything in America. We'll have to go all the way to Brazil or Portugal. By the way, 1 out of 20 Portuguese speakers are in Portugal. 19 out of 20 are in Brazil. Okay, yeah. So we've gone. So then, I love straightteeth.co.uk. You're not doing that one either?
And that was the clinic before. That was like sold in 2016.
So now you're not a practicing dentist?
No.
And how was that a long lost love, or are you glad, or you miss it, or what's that like?
Essentially, it's an extension of like what we were doing before, just helping more people through systems and technology. But no, I'm very happy with what we're doing at the moment. It's very interesting and challenging being able to grow the companies.
And your wife, you said your wife's a lawyer.
Yeah, so she's managing director. She runs the businesses. So she's like head of growth, product, operations.
Yeah, and so then I'm trying to think. You said so. I'm going to go back to clear aligners. When I got out of school, you know what clear aligners were? Lingual braces.
Really?
Well, they didn't have clear aligners. So if you wanted
setup and everything though.
What's that?
You had Kesling setup and you had like manual setups and everything though, didn't you? Like back then.
Well, when I graduated school, you remember T-Rex was still alive, and there was but in '87, if you didn't want your braces to show, there weren't clear aligners. You had to do lingual braces. That was your only option. And now I'm starting to see lingual braces come back. Do you think lingual braces are going to be a challenge to clear aligners? Is that going to be competition?
No, I think they'll be very popular. When I had the clinic file of straight teeth, about 80% of what we did was lingual braces because people wanted the outcome without people seeing it, but they didn't necessarily want to do anything, right? Like, because there's massive compliance issues with aligners. Not everybody wants to wear aligners. Also, some people prefer having something fitted behind the teeth, which may work quicker or in different ways. So there's different options for different people. Honestly, Howard, like it's just a question of like, you think about the percentage of people that would like to improve their smile, the percentage of people that could improve their smile through straightening. And then you think about which different technologies or modes of treatment would suit as many people as possible. I mean, the percentage of people getting their teeth straightened at the moment is a tiny, tiny percentage of that. So I think there's a long, long way to go through many different modalities to help more people get what they want. So I think lingual braces will definitely become more and more popular. There's more systems which make it easier for general dentists or orthodontists to do it without expensive lab work as well.
You know, the last time we talked about, you were saying about that you love my Virtues, a Profitable Dentist video, and how a teenager can run McDonald's with more systems numbers than a dentist can, and that you really wanted to improve the dental business through practice software, starting with helping dentists increase treatment acceptance, increasing patient, all these things like that. I have believed that the reason DSOs have taken over America, I mean, it's the fastest growing part of the market. And what people don't realize is that as it's gone from 0 to 12 to 18%, that's been at the expense of private practice. And I don't see it turning because for 32 years, I've told dentists, you need to know your numbers. Your Dentrix and EagleSoft doesn't hook up with your QuickBooks accounting. You don't know your numbers. You don't track how many people land on your website, how many of those convert to call, how many calls answered does it take to convert to coming in, how many people come in and need clear liners before you convert one to... They basically say, I don't want to know any numbers. I don't want to know anything. I got my eyes closed. I'm having a beer and stay out of my way. And that's why in Arizona, 18.6% of all dentists work for a DSO, and I still don't see it changing. Do you see it changing for where you're at? Because to put this into context for the kids, when I got out of school, the United Kingdom was well far ahead of us in this NHS experiment where the government was going to highly regulate dentistry. It's kind of like the airline industry. Everybody knows if the only way you can make $1 billion in the airline business is you start with $2 billion and you end up with one. And imagine an airline business where, to take off, I need permission from the government. To land, I need permission. I can only take off and land in your government airport. So the government just regulates it until it's dead, and then they're just shocked why it's so expensive. And the NHS was in this 2 decades before I got out of school, and now 3 decades out of school. In fact, but when I was born, there was 3 billion people in 62. When I got out of dental school in 87, there were 5 billion people. Now there's 7.5 billion people. But I've watched for 30 years people trying to get out of the NHS system and go back to more of a free market, and kind of in the same way of Brexit, where they're just done of all these big government agencies trying to make their life easier. So where is the unraveling from the NHS at right now? Do you see young dentists coming out of school saying, I'm NHS, here's, I'm yay, or is it more like, oh my God, avoid that like the plague?
I think there's a mixture. I think the NHS is very, very valuable, and it's brilliant because it means that people. So, for example, I think in the USA, one of the main reasons for personal bankruptcy is health expenses, right? Like, so in the UK, like if you
it is. I mean, let's talk facts. So it's 40 to 60,000 Americans declare bankruptcy each year. Number one is cash flow. Number two, healthcare. But 40 to 60,000 on 325 million people. I mean, that's not even a rounding error. But continue.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so but in the UK, what's nice is that like for severe medical conditions or different health problems, there is a system in place to help look after you.
And that would be insurance. And that would be insurance, which we're all for. You wreck your car, your house gets fire, you get a big disease. But those insurance things aren't even 10% of the healthcare cost. It's the coming in for a cold and a flu and a sniffle.
So in dental, like the spend on dental care is pretty similar to the spend on, say, for example, cancer care. And as people live older and as as technology moves on and things are more advanced, it becomes difficult to understand what is the core element of health which they're trying to look after, and what are all the new procedures which are maybe outside the scope of like maintaining and preserving health. So I think like with the NHS, it does provide a valuable service in many different areas, but at the same time, it has to be realistic about health preservation, stabilization, and then you're looking at the other different types of treatments which need to be made more affordable for more people, so then they can access different kinds of care. But I think it provides a very good service and a core level, but dentistry over time has to just become more affordable and accessible through the lowering of costs, essentially, because as populations grow, the same healthcare budget cannot scale to everybody with the same scope of care for everybody, basically.
So when you watch my 30-day dental MBA, which is now on YouTube and iTunes, and the virtues of profitable dentistry, did it apply? Did you think it applied to the United Kingdom as much as it did where it was made in Arizona?
It applies everywhere, isn't it? Like, I think one of my favorite bits was when you talked about orthodontics. He says rubber band and glue. Which bit don't you understand? The rubber band or the glue? I thought that was
Oh, my orthodontist friends hate me. My God, they hate me. But anyway.
No, but I think the whole systematic approach to just like, what do people want? What do people need? And how you can use, as you talk about general business principles, to deliver that in a more efficient way for more people. It's completely applicable everywhere, isn't it?
Yeah. One of the things that I liked the way that you talked about was helping dentists increase treatment acceptance. I mean, God, they don't even track it. I mean, like today, yesterday, everybody was talking about how the date was a palindrome. 02 day, 02. Month, day, year. It's like, dude, you don't even look at numbers. They don't like selling. They say, I don't want to sell. They don't track treatment plan acceptance. First of all, how do you track treatment plan acceptance? A lot of people start talking about a number and there's no definition on it. I mean, how do you track treatment plan acceptance?
I think like within a practice, they would be looking at like how much they've diagnosed, what they've diagnosed different people. So for example, through Make Me Clear, people are able to like look at the plans they've diagnosed, look at the understanding, and then follow up with those cases to see how that's kind of working. With Instant Dentist, what we're trying to do is like level things up. So in most dental care, there's an information asymmetry. The doctor knows everything. The patient doesn't really know very much. The doctor looks at the patient, sees all these different conditions, and then tries to create a plan for that patient without really understanding their financial or personal desires or how things are going. So in the same way, if you can apply a more data-driven level where the patient is able to understand more about their conditions and at the same time communicate with the doctor in an open way, saying, I see I have these cracks here. This is something I would like to take care of over the next 6 months. Can we prioritize what we need to do? It can be more of a co-discovery discussion. I think using technology, so like intraoral cameras, photography, reports, and benchmarking of where you are versus somebody else, this just makes the whole process more efficient. So, and from a doctor's perspective, they can have an understanding about, okay, what percentage of people have specific conditions? What percentage of people do I recommend this to? How are they moving forward in this way? It's just helping people get the healthcare that they actually want, really, but making it in a way which is a partnership with the person.
So is instant dentist? How is that going? I mean, is that taking off?
Yeah, it's really early days, but it's going very, very well. And what we find that's really interesting is, like I say, because we create this report where people get their health assessed in different dimensions and information, we found that people have gone to their dentist and said, hey, this concerns me. I'm interested in doing this. And they hadn't previously had that conversation with their dentist, but now they can see where the crack is or where the problem is. It becomes very interesting. There's a few dental practices we're working with to also do reactivations, because a percentage of people in their practice have not visited for 18 months or more. So they're offering digital dental assessments to those patients to then help them understand what their needs are, so then they can reschedule for treatment. So I think it's very exciting to help more people understand the true picture of their needs, and then they can be empowered to decide what is right for them to do at what pace, basically.
So it's kind of a big marketing thing, because when I got out of school, the currency for marketing was money. Like when I grew up, the reason the Fortune 500s controlled everything is because there's only 3 networks. So if you're ABC, CBS, NBC, and you sell cereal and you buy all the primetime commercials during cartoons for your Wheaties and Cheerios and whatever. But now in a highly fragmented market, the Fortune 500 can't really do this. And it seems like the currency for a dentist is time. So if I sign up for instant dentist and some consumer patient contacts me, if I work that lead, I may be able to close the lead and convert them to schedule an appointment to come in. Is it really a marketing thing?
I think it's more of it's an awareness and diagnosis thing, right? And then what we want to do is link up with practices that also treatment plan and do treatment from a adhesive mentality, like biomimetic, minimally invasive, because then you can match up the patient who understands what their needs are and a minimally invasive way to solve their problem with a dentist that also has the same kind of philosophy. So it becomes a good marrying element between those two people.
And is that just a UK thing, or is that is it in the United States?
At the moment, it's just the UK, but we are in talks with a few docs in the USA who are very interested. Like, for example, we've also got a dental scope, which is an intraoral camera, a Wi-Fi intraoral camera, and we're looking to create a digital dental plan in a box for consumers. So then they're able to then see what's going on, track how things are. And a few dentists have said to us, actually USA dentists have said, could we provide this for our own patients as a way to help monitor what's going on for those people? But yeah, I think the more people are empowered about their oral health, the more people that understand what's going on, I just think you're going to prevent and help more issues before they actually become a big issue.
And do you how many dentists and how many countries are using this now? How is it rolling out?
It's early stages. We're trying to get more traction at the moment within Europe and the UK. But as I say, it's growing step by step over time. We're looking for the right dentists that are interested in helping implement this in their area. So we're always open to listen to progressive, proactive dentists.
And is that turning out like you thought?
Yes, it's everything new takes a little bit of time, but we're very excited to see how people are responding to it. And we're quite surprised also, like how many people who hadn't been to a dentist for a long time got the report and then suddenly are booking appointments and going for different treatments. So it's quite rewarding to see that.
Right. Was there anything you thought we were going to talk about today that we didn't talk about?
No, I think we covered everything. I'm interested in what your perspective is, like within your practice, because you still practice in your place, don't you?
Yeah, I worked 3 days last week. Most people, they just assume I'm a model that just does a photo shoot and gets on the cover of a magazine. But yeah, I still do dentistry. And like I say, I think I don't think you can be all things to all people. I see people crushing it who are really implant driven or really clear aligner driven. I'm in Phoenix. I'm not in Scottsdale, Paradise Valley. I'm still that. I mean, my practice is 32 years old. I've been seeing a lot of people for 3 decades. It's so funny because now when a lot of my patients I saw last week, I can remember when their mom carried them in a baby seat, and now they're coming in carrying another kid in a baby seat, and it's just so fun. But I think this clear aligners thing is very serious because at the end of the day, we're a species. The number one goal of a species is to reproduce and have offspring. When you look at what a peacock does, when you look at all the complex mating, when I lecture around the world, I mean, I don't care if you're in Kathmandu, Indonesia, Nepal, anywhere you go, once the waitress finds out that you're a dentist, they start asking about Invisalign and braces. And you're looking at this, I mean, it's just so huge. The need to reproduce, to have offspring is so huge. They'll do anything to increase their appearance until they've successfully mated and had offspring. So anything that can increase your chance of having a baby, and anything a grandparent can do to increase their chance of their children to mate and all that stuff. I mean, it's just it's the cat's meow. It's the bases. It's everything.
And from your perspective, you must be using quite a lot of technology in your practice to help all the people you know through the local networks and everything. So where do you see the opportunities, for example, for dentists to be able to evolve and grow their practice?
Um, I think like amalgams last 38 years, composites last 6, but they want the natural teeth. When I tell someone they have 11 cavities and gum disease, they ask me when they can start Invisalign and bleaching their teeth. The future is, how do you marry the values of I'm a dentist, I want you to keep your teeth for life and be free from disease, especially inflammation, because the chronic inflammation, we think it's totally related to total inflammation, which is heart disease, cancer, all these autoimmune disorders. You just need less inflammation. That's what we want to get done in a parental way. And then the patient, they just want to have bright-eyed, beautiful teeth and look gorgeous for their Instagram selfie that they take 9 times a day in their bathroom mirror and keep posting on Instagram. So I think the future is, how do you do the dentistry they need while making them whiter, brighter, sexier teeth. By the way, when I was in England, every time I'm in England, they kind of laugh about how white the teeth our needs are in America and the Middle East. Now, I get the Middle East because if you're completely wrapped in a veil and sari, and the only thing that shows is your eyes and your teeth, I mean, gosh, and you're wearing black. I mean, oh my God. So I get it in Saudi Arabia, in the Middle East, where they want Clorox wipes. But Americans, Hollywood, they're not far behind them. But I've noticed a lot of people in Europe kind of thought, nah, not that straight, not that way. Because I feel like in the United Kingdom, they feel like if it's too white, it's too straight, it's too perfect, it's fake and phony. Do you still sense that?
So there's different trends, but I think like the European aesthetic is more natural and kind of like perfect imperfections. Like, so I think there is a trend towards kind of a more naturalized smile, but then there are many people that like the US look as well. So it depends on the audience essentially. But like the US look is always going to be driven by essentially like some form of like restorative and at the same time some orthodontics. So veneers and some straightening, combination of those things. But the people that prefer the more natural look will be happy with straightening, whitening, maybe some bonding essentially.
So if you heard what he just said, I want to make sure this didn't fly over your head. So if you're in a dental school in America and you're thinking about marrying a girl and she's not European, that likes that natural and the flaw, then don't buy her a natural diamond. Buy her a zirconium diamond. It's flawless. It's completely perfect, and it only costs $3 at Walmart. You do not need to buy that natural flawed diamond for your girl. But hey, thank you so much for coming on the show. This is the hottest subject in dentistry is implants and clear aligners, and it's always fun to go across the pond. By the way, they just started a nonstop flight to Phoenix to London, 9 hours straight. I love that flight, and every day at noon in Phoenix, you can see this big old British Airways 747 taking off, and it's go away London. It's the best flight in the world, my gosh, if you haven't been to London, go up there. And the other thing to the American homies in Canada is United States has a very fragmented dental industry in where all 50 states have a state meeting, and it's very fragmented, whereas Europe, I mean, my God, the whole country has one meeting every other year in Cologne. And Cologne is, it was the furthest outreach of the Roman Empire. It's a part of Germany. It's about the only part of Germany where there's a lot of Italian restaurants. But are you a big fan of the Cologne meeting?
I've not had a chance to go yet, but I know it's enormous. Like, it's absolutely enormous, isn't it?
It's 110,000 dentists show up to that thing. And when you're at a booth, it's so cool, because if you're at a booth at Chicago right now at the Yankees going on at the Boston last weekend, I mean, when you're at the Cologne meeting, whenever you're at a booth, there's 5 dentists on each side of you talking in a language you don't even know what they're talking about, but they're all dentists. They're all fighting the same disease, and how everybody sees it slightly different is so informative. It's all in the nuances, and I just love Cologne because it seems like every conversation you have for a dentist, like maybe he's from Lagos, Nigeria, or maybe he's from Korea, and no matter what they say, you always think, wow, I never quite really thought about it with that little detail and that little touch. It's so interesting. But hey, if you ever want to hit America in a big way, make us an online CE course or an article, or because this is the future, and all the kids here want to learn more about clear aligners. And please tell that to George Cardosa, saying that they can't hear enough about this stuff.
No, absolutely. No, thank you very much.
All right. Well, I hope you have a rocking good evening. What time is it now? It's what is it? 8:15 there now?
Yes, 8:15.
All right. Well, it's past your bedtime. Go to bed, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you.